Here we go. Good morning, Frontier Kids Care parents, families, all the families out there, moms-to-be, moms already, breastfeeding moms, especially today. Today, we have the honor of interviewing Aimee Bartholomew. Now, Aimee is well known to us at Frontier Kids Care. She's a graduate, two young, lovely young adults, young men, beautiful young men, very gifts to the society, and she was a breastfeeding mom. The other thing is Aimee is a breastfeeding counselor with the Breastfeeding Association of Trinidad and Tobago, formerly TIBS, the Informative Breastfeeding Service. She's an amazing counselor, she's a doula, and as I said already, an amazing mom. So welcome, Aimee, to the Frontier TV today.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Great.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone, too. At Frontier Kids Care, we help parents who are anxious about their child's well-being in health, learning, and parenting, the result of which is they open the gifts that their children are and unlock their full potential. And one of the best things and the first things that a parent, a mom could do for her baby is to breastfeed. So this is why we have Aimee in today. And Aimee, I believe it's World Breastfeeding Week coming up soon. So you're going to tell us about that and what it's about this year. So
yes,
over to you.
Okay, hi. And I have to say, my own personal breastfeeding journey was made a success because I had support from you, my pediatrician. And so I am so grateful for that because support is so important during breastfeeding. And as you can see, well, I don't know if you can see it up here, that is the theme this year of World Breastfeeding Week 2021. And it's Protect Breastfeeding, a Shared Responsibility, because there's so many people who are responsible for helping a mother to breastfeed. And if your pediatrician is one, and of course, you have been very, very supportive of breastfeeding. So, yes, where do we go from here? Where do we begin?
Tell us. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, World Breastfeeding Week is coming up, so this is perfect timing for this interview. So it started, World Breastfeeding Week started in 1992 by WABA, which is the World Alliance of Breastfeeding Action. And the Breastfeeding Association, formerly known as TIBS, as you said, we have been celebrating World Breastfeeding Week ever since by having a walk and a breakfast. The first Saturday in Trinidad, the second Saturday in Tobago. Of course, that was not possible last year because of the pandemic, and neither will it be this year. But we will still celebrate in our own way. And basically, it is to protect, promote, and support breastfeeding. That's why it came about. So where should we go from here?
Okay, well, tell us who are we know it's so important to know before even before the baby is conceived, to have an idea what breastfeeding is about. I mean, it's not just while pregnant, and then during pregnancy, it's always very useful to get information and support so that when you come into the delivery room, the first hours, we know is so important, the skin-to-skin contact and putting the baby to the breast. And then afterwards, the follow-up with supportive people, family, doctors, pediatricians, breastfeeding counselors, doulas, everyone. So
definitely preparation is key. And not really physically preparing, because there's nothing really that you need to do physically. As you know, a long time ago, they used to tell you to do particular things to prepare your breasts and that kind of thing, but those are not recommended anymore. But definitely having a conversation with your doctors, your OBGYN, your pediatrician, the place where you intend to give birth, having conversations with them about your plans to breastfeed. And also getting the information, the proper information, doing prenatal classes if possible with someone who really supports breastfeeding. And also having a plan, a birth plan, so that it includes breastfeeding supportive measures. So all of that is really important. And also knowing that there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of information on the World Wide Web And not all of it is good information. So to be able to have people around that can guide you to the right information is really a big help. And also setting up a line of support before baby even comes. So having a conversation with a breastfeeding counselor beforehand, developing that relationship, and also always planning to have that person there to help you to get it right from the start, instead of waiting for a problem to happen. Waiting for an issue to come up and then making that call. Because it's much harder to fix a problem than to prevent it in the first place.
Exactly.
So,
so that's a good point. So it starts with families. I think when the other kids, if it's not the first time baby, then the other kids are involved and read books on it and talk about it and know that it's a normal, natural thing, because there's of course a lot of, pushback against that. And then also to have, to be surrounded with people who are going to encourage you to breastfeed. Now, in our culture, that may be variable. I find in my experience, we have lots of extended family in Trinidad and Tobago, and some may say, no, I don't know about that breastfeeding thing. I did not breastfeed and my babies were fine, which is probably good. It's probably true perhaps, but we're talking about the gold standard and what you want to achieve. So it's very important to have supportive family and also to educate people. So I know that maybe not of late it's online, but the Breastfeeding Association has classes or support groups usually every month. And
well, it's actually we have now a support group online, a Zoom support group every other Wednesday.
Every other
Wednesday, yes, at 10 a.m. And it's up on our Facebook page, and you register, and it's been very successful. And it's so important too that you have other support from mothers who are going through similar situations.
Exactly.
And to hear their stories. It's so important. I can remember when you started your support group, your breastfeeding support group.
Oh yeah, that's some years ago.
Frontier Kids. I was very much a part of that when it first started, and that was amazing that the mothers really look forward to that, because having that peer support is also as important as having professionals, your family and friends supporting you.
Yes. And of course your partner, that's also important. You have to tackle the men too, because I noticed, especially antenatally, if the parents plan to do this from before and the father's involved, the mother is obviously going to be more involved and supported and feel, I can do this,
Correct. And that's why it's so important that they're included in the prenatal preparation as well. So if they're prenatal classes, whatever it is, it's important that the partner is also involved so that they're on board, because it's really important too for them to get this information sometimes from somebody on the outside and not from the mom. Because, the mom could be, they tend to take on professionals or other people on the outside more than the moms themselves. So it's very important that they are involved.
Yeah, that's very true. So then we have antenatally, so that's important. And, at Frontier Kids to Get To, we offer antenatal complementary consultations. Well, of course, it can be face-to-face, but in this era, lots of things are online. So we have the telehealth consultations. So parents can talk to us, new parents that we don't even know, can talk to us beforehand about what to expect and how to make the breastfeeding happen. And, the emotional state of the mother is very, very important, as you know.
Yes.
So
and the more knowledge they have, the more empowered they feel.
Exactly.
And then they can make, the best decisions for their families, for their babies.
Exactly. So then we come into the delivery room now. And the baby has been delivered by either the midwife or the obstetrician, and we now have this new gift to the world. What do we do then to encourage breastfeeding?
Well, the most important thing as that baby is born is having immediate skin-to-skin contact, which is even possible with a C-section, and that's why these conversations need to be had beforehand with your obstetrician, gynecologist, with the pediatrician, with everybody involved, with your partner, if that person is in your room, with your doula, if you have a doula. All of these things need to be, discussed beforehand, because when a mother is giving birth, she's not thinking logically. and she's not going to remember, wait a minute, I want skin to skin contact, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody around, the support
Yes.
people are so important
Yes.
to helping to make sure that that happens.
Yes.
And of course, we all know skin to skin contact has so many benefits. It helps to regulate babies' breathing rate, heart rate, blood sugar levels, body temperature, all of these things. And it also helps with the production of all the endorphins and the mother to produce more oxytocin to help to dispel the placenta. There's just a host of benefits to that skin to skin contact, some that we don't even know about yet.
Exactly.
So that is the first step, and getting that baby near the breast, not necessarily to have a proper feed, but to be near the breast, because that's when their sucking instinct and their crawling reflex and all that is the strongest. And so that's, skin to skin contact is really, really important at that point. And not just for 2 minutes and take baby away, because a lot of stuff can be done on the baby's chest, on the mother's chest, when the baby's on the mother's chest.
Yes.
You know, you can check the baby out, do all the checks that need to be done right there on the mother's chest.
Yes. So we know there's a lot of education of health professionals and others to get this going, but once there's a seed and there's a small group of people or group of people who understand, you can influence the others. So that's extremely important. And if the pediatrician is there in the delivery room as well, that person can also influence, you know, greatly that outcome. Experienced midwives are amazing too at helping moms to do this. And well, we forgot to say that you're a doula as well, Aimee.
Yes.
I don't think I mentioned it. So tell us what a doula does and how you assist in the birth experience.
Well, a doula is basically labor support, but not only during labor, because of course you get to know your doula beforehand. A doula can provide information to a mother, again, to help to make the best decisions. A doula supports the mother in whatever birth plan she has.
Yes.
It's not about the doula and what she thinks the ideal birth is. It's all about the mother and what she wants, and supports the mother in getting that. And also too, to help to make sure that all these things happen, the skin to skin contact, if that is what the mother wants. Also to support the partner, to support the mother. Yes. You know, so a doula does not get medically involved in the birth at all. It's all about support.
And that's what we're talking about here. So you're one of the critical. You have lots of many hands, Aimee. You're really good.
Many hats.
Many hats. That's excellent.
Yes.
So the next thing then, you know, tell us about the colostrum, because a lot of people have, you know, false information and feel that the baby's not getting enough milk.
Yes. Oh gosh, that's a major issue.
Yeah, and that's huge at the very beginning.
Well, I always carry around with me in my breastfeeding kit this little marble.
Okay.
Right? So it's very tiny.
Yes.
And that's the size of a newborn baby's stomach. The size of a pitching marble, the size of a cherry. Sometimes it's a little smaller than this, depending on the size of the baby. And it doesn't take much to fill that stomach. And just as quickly as it fills, it empties. So babies in the first few days need to be fed on demand, which is as often as they want for as long as they want. And that actually helps to bring the milk in.
Yes.
So it takes about 3 to 5 days for the milk to come in, but that colostrum in the beginning is like condensed milk.
I like that.
It is thick and it's full of nutrients, it's full of antibodies, it has laxative properties, it helps to get all the dark stool, that first meconium stool out. And when they see the size of their baby's stomach, so let's say I have a doll here. We have a newborn baby.
Yes, yes.
Just think that that's the size of the baby's stomach. It really reassures mothers that it doesn't take a whole lot. Just that little half a teaspoon to a teaspoonful of colostrum each time that baby feeds is enough. You know, if there's a lot of undermining that happens with breastfeeding, especially those first few days, which are so critical at establishing a good milk supply. And you know, sometimes that information comes from medical staff who tell them, oh, no, you don't have enough milk, you need to supplement. And what happens when you supplement and you give too much milk to a baby with a stomach this size is it stretches the baby's stomach. And then they start to demand more than they really need nutritionally. And so, you know, that gets breastfeeding off to a really a bad start. I don't like to use the word bad, but it can really interfere with breastfeeding,
if that's
and with the whole process. That plenty breastfeeding in the beginning is what helps to bring the milk in, and after 3 to 5 days, the milk starts to come in, and then the baby sort of settles a bit, and their stomachs get a little fuller and stays fuller for longer.
Excellent. So usually we would see the baby, the pediatrician, or in the clinic, or maybe postnatally at age 2 days and then 2 weeks. And, you know, the things you're looking for really to know that the baby is getting enough milk is the weight gain, the stools, and the urine. Now, sometimes, especially, like, let's go to 2 days is great, but some people are not able to make it at that time. But it's important, I think, because what happens is in 2 weeks, you can sort of lose the momentum, either by well-intentioned family telling you, no, start the bottle, the baby's not getting enough. Then you have the nipple confusion if the baby's on the nipple of the bottle. You know, they don't suck properly, and that's an important thing in terms of the latch and getting that latch sorted out early. So, and
that's what's really important about that antenatal preparation as well, is knowing that that bottles and teats, artificial nipples, are just, you know, detrimental to the success of breastfeeding. Because the babies suck differently at a bottle. They suck at a pacifier when they should be sucking at the breast. And it's just a totally different way of sucking. And some people don't believe that nipple confusion exists. But it definitely exists. You can give a baby one bottle or one pacifier, and they can reject the breast completely. And it's quite a task to get them back onto the breast.
Yes, I see that all the time, especially after cesarean sections, when you are not able to, you know, I shouldn't say not able to, but oftentimes the baby's not put to the breast early enough, and it interferes with that process.
And then, of course, that other point, that babies need to be fed right away. As soon as they're born, they have to be fed. You know, if for some reason a mother and baby is separated, the baby isn't born starving. They've had a 24-hour restaurant, you know, attached to their umbilical cord, to the placenta, and they're not born starving. So they can, I mean, it's ideal that they get to the breast immediately, but it's not so much so that they need to be fed, and that they need to actually, you know, suckle and bond and you know, get near to the breast.
Exactly. That's a good point.
So this very early feeding of babies when they're taken from the mother is just most times unnecessary and interferes with the whole natural process.
Again, the whole word is natural, right?
Yes,
natural thing.
Except it doesn't always come naturally.
No, it doesn't.
And people say, "Oh, this is supposed to be natural." No. It's not natural. Well, in this day and age, we really don't see people breastfeeding. It's not in the movies. It's not in the TV shows. I mean, you can count on one hand how many TV shows or movies we've seen breastfeeding. We don't see it when we're out there, you know. So it's something that does have to be learned, and it doesn't necessarily come naturally.
That's a very good point. It has to be learned. It's a learned thing, a shared responsibility, and back to that whole theme of this year, you know, shared responsibility. So it's also important to know that the babies can lose weight in the first 2 weeks of life, and that's also okay. So this is why the 2-week check is so important as well, because you can evaluate, you know, the status, whether the baby's getting enough milk or not, and, you know, the urine, the stool, looking at the baby's condition, any jaundice and other things. So that 2-week checkup is really important. But I also think that at 2 days, when you're still very important to at least make some contact and set you forward, because, you know, everything is to start from the beginning. We start from the very beginning. You know, this is a very good place to start, you know, that song. So you start from the beginning, and then the rest is easier. So that start is so important, and I have to thank you and, you know, the Breastfeeding Association for all you do there to give moms that access to the best start, you know, that, you know, you can then take it from there. Now, let's talk about how long should we breastfeed exclusively for? And
Okay.
before that though, I want to ask you, what things do you tell, moms to help them? What can we help moms do to increase the supply of the milk?
Okay, well that starts at the very beginning, and that's frequent breastfeeding in those first few days. Yes. I always tell moms, if you've ever seen a dog have puppies or a cat have kittens, very often people have seen that, that they've seen a dog. In the first few days, the puppies or the kittens are attached to the mother constantly.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, after a couple of days, the puppies or the kittens start to sleep. Sleep for a little longer in between. And it's those initial days of frequent breastfeeding is what helps to bring the milk in.
Yes.
And helps to establish a really good milk supply.
Yes.
The other thing too, it's recommended that babies breastfeed at least 8 to 12 times in 24 hours in the newborn stage, and for the whole time until they start eating solids and all that. And so 8 is bare minimum. More often than 8 to 12 times in 24 hours is okay, but less often than that is not. So you're likely to have a good milk supply and satisfy your baby if you are breastfeeding that often. Yes. So it does seem often, but breast milk is so easily digested that it goes through the baby's system very quickly. Exactly. And that's why they tend to be hungry again sooner. Formula is very difficult for a baby to digest.
Yes.
And so it takes a lot longer for a baby to want to be hungry again. So they tend to be sleepy, and so, which is not necessarily a good thing. People say, oh, but it makes the baby sleep. Yeah. But it's not necessarily a good thing because it's difficult to digest.
Yeah.
So So that's basically the best way to get up a milk supply is feeding the baby more often and making sure the baby's latched on and positioned well. Because the better a latch is, the better the baby will milk the breast. Because the more milk that is removed from the breast, the more milk the mother will produce. It's a demand-driven breast milk supply is demand-driven. So the more you remove, the more you make.
Yeah, I tell the moms it's like a conveyor belt. So the more at certain times of the year you're producing a soft drink factory or whatever produces a lot of soft drink or whatever it is, a conveyor belt factory, and the more you breastfeed is the more you produce. When the message doesn't go to the brain that, you're getting milk from somewhere else, the breast milk will not be produced. And so you produce less and you think, oh gosh, there's no milk. So you have to supplement, and it's like a cycle. So,
and even there's also this misconception that, oh, but I expressed my own milk. It's breast milk in the bottle.
Yes.
But even a supplement of breast milk, if it happens too often or on a regular basis, like some moms say, oh, well, I express milk for my partner to feed in the night, but even that interferes with the milk supply, because even if one feed is missed in a day, it has an impact on the mother's milk supply.
Yeah, conveyor belt. Lots of C's. I think C for cherry and colostrum.
We
have a conveyor belt analogy. So but it's all good. Now, what are the other things in terms of, I know anxiety is a huge thing with moms, really huge. And then you have sometimes mild or more than mild postnatal depression as well. So support of the family, we're talking about support this year, is very, very important. What I tell parents, and I'm sure you will agree and maybe have your stories too, of, West Indian parents families like to come and visit. Of course, now it's a little different, but they love to come and, oh, it's a nice baby, this, that, but we need to be intentional about helping parents to ask for certain things like, bring some meal for me, bring a meal, help wash your clothes, to relatives and stuff like that, rather than just, observe.
Yes, well, a lot of times, especially West Indian family, they come and visit and they want to hold the baby.
Yeah.
They want to hold the baby, they want to walk the baby, they want to do all of that when there's a sink full of dishes or there's no food on the table, or there's so many other things that need to be done. And the mother really just wants to sit and be able to hold her own baby and breastfeed the baby. Yes, you could take a little hold, but the things that you really need to help a mother with are all the other things around. Exactly. She has the baby covered, but of course in the back of her mind, she obviously is thinking, I have so much to do. I have the laundry to do. I have the dishes to do. Like the house is a mess, you know, and all of that is in her head. So if people can rally around and help with those things, it would really help with the anxiety of the mom.
Yeah. And this is where the plan from before helps.
Correct.
Knowing what you're going to ask for.
Yes. And you know, yes. And you know, you only need really, if nobody else is supportive, you really just need one person that you know you can go to and who can tell you, listen to all the advice you get, listen to all the noise and the people talking, and just say thank you. And then give me a call.
Yes, that's true.
And I will set it all straight, you know what I mean?
That's so true. Because
once you know you have that one person.
That's so true, because between us, Lisa, and myself, and of course, I know you all do it too, we tell the mothers, do not listen to other voices, because they'll be hearing 10 million voices coming at them, telling them, do this, do that. And you get confused and off track.
Of course.
So you have
especially first-time moms.
Especially.
It's like, it's so overwhelming.
It is
all the advice you get, and it's conflicting advice, and you don't know what to listen to. So when you have your little one or two people that you know have the right information, you know, and of course there's some things that are choices. But the fact that you know that it's a choice, and that some of the things that there's not one way or another, that whatever works for you is what really is what you should choose, you know.
And I tell the parents, you know, it's always great when the grandparents come in as well, especially the grandmothers and mothers-in-law are very, very influential people.
Correct.
You know, so
they can make or break it.
Absolutely. So I tell them, you know, bring them in so that they are also on the same page. And then, you know, let them do what they can do well. They can cook well. They can massage the baby well. They can do a lot of things. But, you know, so you have to give them their zones of genius and let the mom remain in hers, which is just to breastfeed and with the dad's support as well.
Correct. And another thing about so no, go ahead.
This is so exciting. No, go ahead. Tell me.
The other thing about the anxiety and when you feel really stressed out as a mother, it does hinder the flow of the milk.
Absolutely.
And that's because when you're stressed out like that, you produce adrenaline. And adrenaline hinders the production of oxytocin, which helps the milk to flow. I mean, it's so clear when I'm helping a mom and she's really tense. The milk doesn't flow. If like I'm showing her how to hand express, which is another really important tool is hand expression. You don't need any pump. Your hands work really well.
Nice.
And teaching them to hand express, when they're tense, the milk just doesn't flow. And then you just give them a little touch on their shoulder and you tell them, breathe, relax, and the milk just starts to flow. And they're like, wow. You know, so I always tell moms, when you're sitting to breastfeed, take a few nice deep breaths, and with each exhalation, just let go of all that tension, because it's also going to help your milk to just flow.
Yes, exactly. What are some of the natural things that moms can use or do use to help with the flow
with the milk supply?
Yes, the milk supply.
Well, nothing.
I know, for example, Vervine.
Yeah, well,
we use Vervine a lot.
We don't recommend it or endorse it, but sometimes if it just eases your mind, if you know that there's something that may help, it helps. You know. So it's kind of a mind over matter thing. So these things don't necessarily make you produce more milk, because you can't just drink Vervine and make more milk. You have to also breastfeed more often, you know, make sure the latch is correct. There are many other things that go along with it. If you just drink Vervine, it's not going to work. You have to do it in conjunction with all the other all the other things.
I was told it's a bit of an anxiolytic, or it tends to relax the moms.
Correct. So anything that helps a mom to relax. Just like those deep breaths. The deep breaths, you know. Anything that helps a mom to relax helps her milk to flow.
Fenugreek, some things that some people say that works as well. But at the end of it really is all a relaxed frame of mind, you know.
Correct.
And I even tell some moms sometimes, just if it's okay, have a glass. If it's, you know, have a half glass of wine now and again. If that
a half glass of beer
or something, and they're like, oh my God, I can. You can imagine that not everyone will do it or want to, but when you say that, do something that relaxes you, go for a drive, you know, whatever. They're like, oh gosh, I didn't.
Put on Netflix. put on Netflix and watch your favorite show while you're breastfeeding.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes.
You know, you don't have to be confined to this one chair in this one room.
No.
You know, you get outside of the baby room.
Yes.
Go in the garden.
Yes.
Whatever makes you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't have to just sit in this one chair.
No.
You know,
exactly.
and a lot of mothers say, oh gosh, I had one glass of wine last night. I need to pump and dump the milk. And I'm like, what? No.
Well, you probably got so much milk because there was so much more. The state of mind was relaxed.
Correct. So while you have that drink, breastfeed your baby, that's actually the best time if you want to have a drink, because it's that, if you're breastfeeding while having that little half a glass of wine, the wine is not going to be in your milk at that time.
No, exactly. So getting the moms relaxed is very important. So then we go on to, you know, we know that the first 6 months of life is what the WHO, the World Health Organization, recommends for exclusive breastfeeding. And we know there are lots of benefits to that. And obviously, organizations such as yours and supportive doctors and family help the mom to get through to this 6-month milestone. So, and
that exclusive breastfeeding, you know, it has to be made very clear. Sometimes you ask moms, are you exclusively breastfeeding? Yes. But sometimes they don't realize that it means not even water. No water, no other milk, no food, nothing but the breast for 6 months.
And I mean, we could go into all the long-term benefits, which is take us for a long, long time. But there are benefits to both the mother and to the baby, and then the short-term benefits, and of course the long-term benefits. So, you know, some of the short-term benefits would be the mom-infant bonding, you know, the decreased risk of certain allergies and
certain diseases
too, and the long-term benefit, exactly, your allergies, your asthma. We don't know anything much about the, you know, the protection against things like the present, you know, virus that's plaguing us right now. But we do know that babies who are breastfed have a better chance at immunity, you know, they're boosting their immunity and so on. And of course, you know, I always tell my parents, adult diseases begin in childhood. So breastfeeding is one of the most important things that a mom can do to give her child our best start to unlocking the full potential later on. Now, not every mom can or wants to or may have been able to, but the important thing is to know that it is the best start you could have. It's a gold standard. And then that's what we attain to. And we're here to help, you know, mothers do that. And I guess that's where the supportive environment, that the topic for this month, this World Breastfeeding Week is, that supportive environment. Tell us just a little bit about the classes again, in terms of how that helps moms who've had babies and how it helps those who are still tentative and coming to the class, even if it's online, you know?
You mean the support groups, right? Support groups, we actually have specific ones sometimes. I mean, pregnant moms and breastfeeding moms are welcome. But we also have had specific ones targeted to pregnant moms to help them and what they can do to help to prepare for breastfeeding. But it's the first and third Wednesday of every month. And it's from 10 a.m. on Zoom. You can go to the Facebook page, the Breastfeeding Association of Trinidad and Tobago. The link is there, and you just register. You get the email link, and you come on, and that's really, really great. We have a few of us on that are breastfeeding counselors, and then lots of moms, some experts, and some just starting out, and as I say, some pregnant. So everybody helps everyone else along.
Exactly, that's the support. Very good. And I was going to ask another thing about, in terms of the support, oh dear, I just had a senior moment.
Well, our support is free. So, you know, moms don't have any excuse. You can call us at any time. And I always like to tell moms who are pregnant, don't wait for an issue to come up with the breastfeeding. You know, just call us. Let us be there as part of the rest of the team to help to get things, you know, going well from the very beginning. Because really starting off right is really the best way at really establishing a good milk supply.
Exactly. And that was what I was going to say, that it's very important to, sometimes people come at a month, it's really too late usually to help then. So
it's not too late, but it's just a lot more difficult.
Much more difficult.
Yes, much more difficult to get it. Yeah, because baby has developed habits. Baby has been sucking in a particular way or in a particular position for an entire month. It's a little more difficult to then correct it because you know, babies tend to get set in their ways of how they like to do things. As little as they are. They, you know, you try to change their position or their latch and they get agitated. So if we get it right from the very beginning, it's really important.
That's very good.
And I want to read something because I found this really, this was something that was very powerful to me. And it was stated at the World Health Assembly Global Nutritional Targets of 2025 Breastfeeding Policy Brief in 2012. And it states, exclusive breastfeeding, defined as the practice of only giving an infant breast milk for the first 6 months of life, no other food or water, has the single largest potential impact on child mortality of any preventive intervention.
Excellent.
And that to me is really powerful. I mean, this one simple act. You know how important it is.
It is.
And then and then one more point too, from that saying giving infant breast milk. A lot of moms ask, why can't I just express my milk and give my milk in a bottle? And you know, I tell them, yes, that's the next best thing to breastfeeding, but it's still breastfeeding at the breast is even better. And the reason being is because, first of all, the baby's sucking action, it helps to develop the mouth and the jaw of the baby. But also too, we've discovered in the last few years that baby's saliva, when the baby's saliva touches the mother's breast, the breast actually, the nipple actually absorbs the saliva, and that is what determines the quality of the milk that baby gets. So every time the baby breastfeeds, it's a special milk that suits that baby at the time. The baby may need more water at the time because it's hot, or the baby may have a little bit of a temperature and need more antibodies. And so it's perfect every time. But when a mother is pumping, although yes, it's the next best thing to feeding at the breast, the milk is the same all the time.
That's a very good point. And, you know, I always tell people breast milk is a living thing. It's a living organism. It is not, it's living, and it changes to the needs of the baby. You know, so if you're born preterm, the milk is a different quality from a baby who's born, you know, at term. Mother who has twins or, you know, multiple births, the babies get a different, they have different needs, and the milk is produced exactly to the need of the baby at that particular point in time, which is so amazing, really.
It is.
You know, it's unbelievable almost, but it's true.
Magical. It's magical,
but it's like magic. It's natural. It's natural. It's natural. And of course, my favorite thing to get moms to continue, and I mean, you're the poster person for that, is every month that you breastfeed for the 6 months, you lose 4 pounds. So the normal weight gain in pregnancy is about 25 pounds. You lose about that if you breastfeed for the 6 months. And it's nature's way again of balancing that weight that is put on during pregnancy. And if not to
mention all these shoes you can buy for the money you spend on
absolutely
formula. It's very expensive. I'm in shock at how expensive formula is. And really, but our breast milk is priceless. You couldn't put a price on it.
No, and that's why we can look as youthful as Aimee does with you know, adult children, and still going at it with helping moms to breastfeed. We can talk forever and ever about this because it's such a great conversational topic, and important as well. But you know, generally, I'll just wrap up by saying it's important to continue the breastfeeding, not stop at 6 months, but continue and starting your solids. And, you know, at Frontier Kids Care, we talk about, you know, a lot of moms feel that at 6 months, okay, I'm done. I can now go on to formula. No, it is important to continue the breast milk and wean into your adult diet by 9 months. We've put out an ebook where we show parents how to, you know, actually a pictorial, you know, how to actually do it using, because people don't know how to. So it's very
Yes.
important to continue the education, not just stop at 6 months.
Yeah. Well, babies need milk for a year.
Yeah,
and they get the majority of their nutrition from milk for a year. So we tell moms at least try to get to a year. And then you don't need to give any milk. You don't need to buy a tin of any type of milk after a year, because the baby can just eat whatever you are eating.
And then after that,
of course,
you don't need milk to grow. So it's okay if you don't have milk after that. I tell parents that too. But that's another another thing.
Although the World Health Organization, yeah, exactly, but it's totally unnecessary. We are the only mammals. We are the only mammals that consume another mammal's milk, and we are the only mammals too that consume milk after infancy.
Yes.
So you know, the World Health Organization. It is a cultural thing, definitely. And to think that you breastfeed for a year or 2 years, because the World Health Organization does recommend up to 2 years and beyond. And to think that after you've done that, then you go and buy a tin of milk because the can says it's for a year and over or whatever. It's totally unnecessary and can actually cause a host of issues.
So the support is ongoing and needs to be continued after that period.
Correct.
Very important to say that. And it's important to link to people who can help you with that distilled information, because you hear this information from everywhere else, but you've got to get the distilled stuff that will show you, and help you and, to guide you forward. So,
and the other great support, just before you wrap up, is also working moms. That they have, mother-friendly and workplaces, and that help to support the mother to continue to breastfeed. Because a lot of moms think once they go back to work, they have to stop breastfeeding, and they don't. They can pump. They can pump at work and feed at home, and it's lots of moms have done it, and so that's in a support group as well. We have some working moms, and that's another.
That's a good point. And the organizations where they work to provide spaces where the moms can express breast milk, so that the moms can return to work without the anxiety again of wondering what's going to happen to my baby. Are they going to get enough milk and stuff like that?
And knowing that others who have come before them have done it.
Have done the same.
And we're successful. And so that it's not impossible,
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So Aimee, tell us where we can find, the Breastfeeding Association. And
okay, let me pull up the numbers to make sure I have them correct.
Well,
I give the correct numbers. Well, you can find us on Facebook. The Breastfeeding Association of Trinidad and Tobago is on Facebook. All our phone numbers will be on there. And then we are also on Instagram. Instagram is a little bit young still. So Breastfeeding Association as well of Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, it's a baby. And then our main office is 628-8234. And then the office by you, it's a cell phone. I'm going to get the number. In my phone now. Let me get it.
Facebook will have it. So downstairs at Frontier Kids Care, we have the breastfeeding. Of course, it's not, if everything is virtual now, but we're always willing to refer and, help mothers who need the help, refer them. And that's another thing. It's very important to have supportive pediatricians and other health, influencers who can refer when needed so that they can get the help early.
Correct. So when you have all those pediatricians on board and that they know that they can recommend to us, then we're on the right track.
So we have Facebook, Instagram, and at the moment 2 offices. So they
Port of Spain and Curep.
Yes. And well, everybody knows the Frontier Kids Care, frontierkidscare.com. You can also download our ebook, which actually stresses the breastfeeding is the first thing you can do. It's on our website, as well as those antenatal visits, which are complimentary, which can help to encourage you to do what you think you'd like to do. And we give you the best help we can, and our support with all the other organizations that help to do this. So I want to say to everyone, Aimee especially, and the Breastfeeding Association, happy World Breastfeeding Week. And of course, to everyone out there, where to find us, and be safe and make sure that you get everything that you need to do to know your plan for your important events like the breastfeeding, the birth of your baby. So take care. Any last?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Happy World Breastfeeding Week. This was perfect timing. And just remember that we are here to help.
Yeah.
whenever you need it.
Perhaps we can do a Savannah, virtually.
Yeah.
Do it in support of the World Breastfeeding Week. I think we should do that, right? Yeah, because we've been here for many a year. I guess we just have to do it virtually and it's in our mind. So take care and bye for now, everybody. Bye, Aimee.
Bye. Stay safe, everyone.
Yes, same to you. Bye.